One.
I lost my grandmother at a young age and never had the opportunity to celebrate her life the way that I hoped. My name is Gabriella, and I'm the proud granddaughter of Joan. There's a quote written by Irma Bombeck that I feel sums up my grandmother perfectly. A grandmother pretends she doesn't know who you are on Halloween. She is the kind of woman who never lost an opportunity to make people laugh. She's the kind of woman you would be a fool to cross. My grandmother is one of the strongest people I've ever known. She never let anything get in her way, despite the fact she was born in a time where a lot of women were not seen as equals and couldn't do things that men could do. She never believed any of that. One thing that I really admire about her is she married my grandfather despite knowing that her Catholic family didn't approve of him because he was previously married. I really admire that she did not allow her family to get in the way of marrying the man that she loved. With my grandfather, they raised 7 boys together. I think that requires a great amount of strength and sense of humor to be able to do. My grandparents would always joke that they probably spent more time in the ER than anywhere else. One of my favorite jokes that my grandfather would make is when people would ask why they had so many kids, he would make a joke. They would go to bed, and I would ask my grandmother, do you want to go to bed, or what? And she would always say, my grandmother would reply, or what? Raising such a large family requires not only a sense of humor or strength, but immense kindness. My grandmother loved her family more than anything. My favorite moments growing up were definitely going to visit her. She was always there for everyone, and I remember she had this closet full of toys, board games, movies, and everything else to keep us grandkids entertained. And she wasn't the kind of person who just leave us to our own devices. She would play with us. She would encourage us and make sure we never felt alone or unappreciated. I used to be the kind of kid who I'd love board games, and I would make up my own rules, and silly ones that often didn't make sense. But she'd always play along. She encouraged my creativity, even if it didn't always make sense. On top of her love of her family, she had an immense love of animals. Dealing with raising 7 boys in Michigan meant she would come home and the boys would have everything from frogs, turtles, snakes, and even some underappreciated animals that a lot of people fear. She was never like that. But my favorite thing was her love of hummingbirds. She had hummingbird feeders out in her back balcony, and I remember her going out and refilling them, and both of us sitting outside the window, just watching the hummingbirds. Her love of nature and animals definitely influenced mine today, and I'm really thankful for it. My grandmother is one of the most important people in my life. To this day, I'm constantly wondering what she would think of me, if she's proud of me, and I miss her. She was the kind of woman that was beautiful and not afraid to take charge and be herself. A woman with a sense of humor and wit that could make anybody laugh. A woman that was the sass to put up with my grandfather. And a woman who loved her family more than anything. And while she may have left this physical plane, a part of her will forever live on in me and in everyone whose life she touched in with my grandmother.